Hello, and welcome to today's webinar. Today, we're talking all about ways that you can celebrate with Screencastify. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. As we get settled, please share one thing that you're looking forward to doing before the end of the school year. It is kind of crazy to think that we are already in May and the school year is coming to a close, but that means that we get the opportunity to celebrate all of the amazing learning, accomplishments, and feats that we've gone over this entire school year. I also want to point out that to my right, you'll see a chat box. That will be the place where you can introduce yourself, tell us your name and where you're from, ask any questions that you might have about today's presentation, or even share ideas for different ways that you might want to use Screencastify or continue the year. Larry's planning to celebrate with his students, Laura's planning a year-end showcase, and Rose is gearing up for her school spirit week. So hopefully there are ways that we can incorporate Screencastify into all of those ideas, and I'm really looking forward to talking about some of those things. So as we get started, I do want to introduce myself if I have not had the opportunity to meet you either in person or virtually. My name is Nefertiti, and I serve on the professional development team here at Screencastify. Before I joined the Screencastify squad, I've taught 7th grade civics, 8th grade English language arts, and African American literature to 11th grade students. Throughout that time, I've had this love of debate and technology, and I've had the opportunity to teach both to kids as young as 2nd grade and as high as collegiate level learners. And it looks like we have a professor in our midst who is working to prepare amazing teachers. So I'm really excited to talk about ways to implement video in the classroom with you tonight and in future webinars and professional development opportunities. If you have not had the chance to already, please introduce yourself in the chat. I asked to do that so that I know that I am speaking to real live humans, and also so that you guys get the opportunity to make connections with each other and turn this into a professional learning community. Every single idea that you share could be very salient for someone who is a part of the presentation, and it is awesome to hear some of the cool things that you guys have planned. So a few norms or rules, we'll call them, for our time together. The first is that I want you to know that we're recording the presentation. So there's no need to write everything down. This will be sent over to you. And if you love the presentation so much that you actually want to share it with a friend, I certainly will not stop you. You guys already realize that I am a huge fan of the chat because I think that we all learn more when the ideas start flowing, and they're not just flowing from me. The third is, please ask questions. I want you to get everything that you can. So if you want me to rewind and go back to something, or if you have a question about how Screencastify works or ideas for the classroom, throw those questions in the chat liberally with reckless abandon. And finally, I want to answer the question before you guys ask it. You will get a certificate. We want to recognize your attendance. I promise you are going to have a certificate so you can show it to your mom, you can show it to your boss, or anybody you need to know that you were here tonight. So hopefully that works for everybody. And if you have any questions or this doesn't work for you, throw something into the chat and let me know. All right. So our focus for today is going to be threefold. First of all, I want to talk about ways that we can honor educators. I know that Teacher Appreciation Week was last week, but it's always Teacher Appreciation Week. It's always an opportunity to honor the incredible work that you guys are doing. Second, I want to talk about some ways that we can celebrate student mastery and achievement. And I know that that is top of mind for a lot of you guys as you think about the incredible learning that your students have done this year. And finally, we'll talk about some ways to honor your school community. And remember, the backdrop for today is that we want to celebrate, have a good time, and make sure that we end this year on such a positive note. So without further ado, let's talk about some ways that we can honor educators. Honor you guys, the folks who have shown up and been a part of the room today. So you might have noticed that when you signed up for today's webinar, that we asked you to share a shout out for an incredible teacher with Screencastify Submit. If you took us up on that, you would have seen something that looks a little bit like what you're seeing to my right. It's a live web page where you can press that blue button to record, and all of the videos end up in a Google Drive folder for you to be able to access at any time. So I want to stop for a second because there were some incredible videos that were shown as part of those Educator Appreciation Week shoutouts that I want to play for you very quickly. So the first was a shout out for librarians. And the incredible support that they've been able to provide this year that came from Miss Raff all the way in Parsippany. Let's give it a quick listen.
I'd like to give a shout out to my fellow elementary librarians in the Parsippany Tri-Coast School District. You've supported me, we've supported each other, we've supported our students, teachers, and community during this pandemic in a variety of ways. We rushed to get ebooks into the hands of our students. We created outdoor story walks. We brought authors in for virtual visits. We continued to expose our students to diverse literature. We supported our teachers with databases and resources that they needed to go on. We helped with tech issues, and we've subbed for teachers in many positions to help the school and our students. Love you all.
I don't know about you guys, but I watched that and I was incredibly excited for the work of school librarians. I know that I've had some incredible colleagues who have served as school librarians who have been the very fabric of the school. We got another shout out for nurses from Miss Adams. The school nurse at her school has been holding it down and doing some incredible work. Let's give it a listen.
Hey there. I wanted to give a shout out to our nurse at our school. Without her, this year would have been really hard to do. She was great about figuring out what the protocols needed to be, helping us figure out how to get kids in school. We've had them in school since September. So it's been a real feat in itself. She has helped parents figuring out what needs to be done. He's just been an amazing person. He's been handling all the cuts and bumps and bruises and things like that. So thank you, Janet Smith. We really appreciate you.
All right, some love for Janet Smith, the school nurse. And by the way, as we're playing through these, I'm going to play about 3 or 4 that you guys submitted. If there is anybody that you feel like is deserving of some recognition, please feel free to throw their name in the chat. We'll track them down, show them some love, make sure that they understand the incredible work that they've been doing over the course of the year. Remember, tonight is all about celebration, and we'll talk about some ways that you can continue that celebration. But if you have somebody that you want to celebrate, please feel free to put their name in the chat and talk a little bit about some of the incredible things that they have done. And we can't leave out teachers. Miss Clemens, who is Robert's mentor teacher, has done an incredible job. And I know that I saw something in the chat about mentor teaching and colleagues. So I know that this is top of mind for a lot of you guys. So this one is absolutely incredible. I think you guys are going to love it.
I just want to say thank you, Screencastify, for enabling my math students to have videos so that can watch the processes and steps they need for their math concepts. I also would like to give a huge shout out to my mentor teacher. I'm actually a second-year teacher. My first year, all my colleagues went on strike. This year, there's a pandemic. So I just want to give a shout out to my mentor teacher, Michaela Clements, Miss Clements. She is the other 10th grade math teacher here at Gateway High School. And she's taught me how to use Screencastify and has been and invaluable. There's no number you can put on her value. She's priceless. She's a great mentor, a great educator, fantastic mathematician. And I just want to say thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to Miss.
I just want to say thank you.
Who has done an incredible job not only at being a 10th grade math teacher, but also at being a mentor. And our last shout out is for Mrs. Parsons. This one comes from a parent who also is a teacher. I know from my time in the classroom, sometimes those are the best parents to have. And the appreciation that emanates from this parent is absolutely incredible. Let's give it one last listen for the videos that you guys have submitted.
Hello, Mrs. Parsons. This is just a quick shout out to you as Hope's teacher. Bench and I both appreciate the care that you give to the students in your class. We know that Hope loves you and respects you, and she's learning a lot from you. I appreciate your consistency and your dedication to a good education. So I wish you all the best in these next couple of weeks. And if it's not expressed enough, just know we appreciate you, Jenna, as Hope's teacher and as a teacher in our school. Thanks so much for all you do. Love you.
So these shout outs were for specific teachers, nurses, and librarians who have done incredible work, but we probably could have inserted any of your names into those videos because you guys have gone to incredible lengths to be able to reach, connect, and educate the students that you work with on a daily basis. So you might be wondering, how do we solicit all of these videos? How do we get them, make them available for folks to be able to use? And what we use is our newest and my most favorite product, which is Screencastify Submit. In order to access Screencastify Submit, you can head over to the Submit dashboard. And below me, you'll actually see a link that will take you out to a new tab where you'll be able to check out Screencastify Submit. But I also am going to show you exactly what that looks like on my screen so that you too can create some awesome, amazing shout outs for not only teachers, but also for students. And as we progress in our time tonight, I'll share some ideas for how you might be able to do that. But let's go through Screencastify Submit. In 30 seconds, you're going to know everything that you need to know to start soliciting videos from anyone. So the first thing that you'll do when you get over to Screencastify Submit, and again, you can check it out by pressing that black button that says View, is you are going to select New Assignment. Once you've selected an assignment type, you can decide what type of assignment you want. Is it a Google Classroom assignment? That one is going to put all of the videos in your Google Classroom, and it's perfect when you want to get videos from students. But we also have our Classic Submit link, which allows you a ton of flexibility to be able to get videos from anyone. And the really cool thing about Classic Submit links is that the videos actually save to your Google Drive. So you will be able to access them there, which is exactly what we did for the videos that I just showed to you. The next thing that you'll do is go ahead and select Next. Then you'll decide what type of recording you'd like to create. If you'd like folks to be able to create a webcam recording like what you just saw, you'll select a webcam recording only. And what's really cool about webcam recordings is that they're actually compatible with mobile devices. So folks can submit recordings from their iPhones, their Android devices, their iPads. If it has a camera, they can use it. And they do not have to have Screencastify installed. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and select Next and give your assignment a title. So if I wanted to give it a title like Share a Shout Out for Nev, because I am self-serving, then that would be my title. And I also can add some instructions as well. And then go ahead and do that next. So the assignment access is also going to be a really important step because it will determine who can actually submit a video. Is it anybody who has the link, which is what we do when we want it to be more broad, or you can lock it down to just folks within your organization. So people who have the same email address as you. And then you can also change video privacy. Do you want students to be able to view no videos, just their own video, or all of the videos? So sometimes I like to lock it down to them not being able to view other videos just so it becomes a private experience. And you also can tell us whether or not you like an email notification every time someone submits a video. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and select Next, and you have this link that you can copy and paste anywhere. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this link, and I'm actually going to paste it into the chat box because that would be a way for you guys to be able to submit videos instantaneously. So if you're wondering what the student experience within Screencastify Submit looks like, go ahead and click that link. You'll see exactly what it's like to be able to submit your own video using the product. But let's also see it on the big screen. So if I press this preview, I'll go over to the experience that anyone who submits a video would have. So they will be taken to a magic link or a Screencastify Submit assignment page where they can record a video that is a shout out for me or anything else that you want them to record. It's pretty cool and a great way to solicit videos from folks. So keep that in the back of your mind because we're going to talk about some ways that you can solicit some really cool videos from folks to be able to finish out the school year. So I'm excited about that. Using Screencastify Submit to honor some incredible work that educators have put in this school year. And the really cool thing is that we actually can combine those things using Screencastify Edit. So our browser-based editor is amazing because it allows you to bring together videos from all sorts of sources. So I'm going to go into Screencastify Edit, and I'm going to give you guys a link to go to Screencastify Edit with me as well. And if there are any questions kind of as we go through these products, please feel free to put them into the chat box. I know that we have a question from Alma, which is a great question that we're going to get back to in just 1 second. But if you have other questions, please feel free to throw those in. So what I want to show you really quickly while we're on the Screencastify Edit screen is the ability to be able to combine videos together. So remember, every video that's submitted with Screencastify Submit is actually saved to your Google Drive. So let's head to this Add Media button and see how cool that actually is in practice. So I'm going to press Add Media over here. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take down videos from my Google Drive. And you know what else is cool about this? The video actually does not need to be created within Screencastify. So if you created a video on your iPhone or anything else in the world, you can actually use Screencastify Edit to be able to edit it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Screencastify Submit folder. And that will be where I will find every video that's submitted to me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the assignment folder that I created that's going to have all of the videos that I would like to get. So here is my folder that I'd like. Let's go to a different folder here. So here is a folder that will work out. And then I can look on any of these videos. If I like, I can click here. I can command and click here, command and click there. And then once I press select, all of those videos are going to be taken to the Screencastify Edit timeline all at once. So this becomes a pretty incredible way to be able to combine videos together and then press export up here to turn them into one really cool finished product that is saved to my Google Drive. Pretty cool, right? So we talked about some ways that we are celebrating educators, and I want to stop here for a second to give you guys an opportunity to take a look at this. After this is over, I'm going to share this entire presentation slides with you, and I want to point out this hyperlink because I would love for you guys to go back to that assignment and share a shout out for somebody who has done something amazing and tell them a little bit about things that you think that they have done well this particular school year. But now it's time to talk about some ways that we can celebrate student mastery and achievement. How can we make sure that students know how incredible they are in the learning that they have actually completed? Let's talk about it. So we're going to talk about all 3 of the products that we have because all of them are amazing ways to be able to celebrate students. You can use Screencastify Record, which is our Chrome extension, to create videos for your students. You might use Screencastify Submit, which we just learned about, to solicit videos from classmates, parents, or anybody else. Or you might put it all together with Screencastify Edit. So let's talk a little bit about what this looks like. So first idea for celebrating kiddos is creating end-of-year videos. I don't know about you guys, but when I was in the classroom, one of the things that I loved to do the most was to write individual notes to each of the students that I taught, talking about their progress, what a joy it was to have them in class, and some of my most favorite assignments that they created throughout the entirety of the year. But those notes are inherently fleeting. They might end up at the bottom of a kid's backpack, or they might not be able to remember them. So instead, try creating videos that last forever for kiddos to be able to see. if you have to Screencastify Record after you've installed our extension, you can create a webcam assignment or even create a browser tab assignment that actually is going to allow them to see exactly what is happening. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a webcam assignment that allows students to be able to see exactly what they have done well. So here we are with a browser tab recording, and then I'm going to go ahead and press record. And then what will happen is a video will begin that is going to allow me to show some amazing work that students have created and narrate over that so that they know exactly what they've done well at the end of the year. And at the end, I actually can share that as an email with the individual student. I can put it on Google Classroom or any other place where it might make sense. And this is also a great opportunity to answer Rose's question that is exactly about Google Classroom. So here we are. So Rose says, if I post it as an assignment on Google Classrooms, can the videos be found on that assignment, or will the videos go directly to an assignment folder in my drive? So Rose's question is actually about Screencastify Submit. And the answer is that those videos will actually go over to Google Classroom. So really good question, Rose. So first idea, creating end of year videos for your kiddos. The second thing that you might want to do is to showcase some excellent work that they've created. So if your students have turned in an amazing Google Slides presentation, a really good essay created on Google Docs, or anything else under the sun, turn on Screencastify, again, our extension to the right of your address bar, and start to narrate over that. One thing that I like to do is to put the link to that assignment into the Google Docs so that kids know exactly what they've done well. And as a bonus, this serves as an exemplar for next year's students. I know when I was in the classroom, there were so many times where I gave variations of the assignment year after year. So I always ask my students to create a research paper on a topic of their choosing. And of course, I could create as many exemplars as I ever wanted. But one of the best things to do was to show the incredible work done by students of previous years. And if you create videos, not only is that an opportunity for your students this year to know what they did well, but it's also an opportunity for students of the next years to see what constitutes A-level work and what does really, really well in the rubric that you've established. So again, to do this, it's as easy as pulling up the piece of work that you really loved, turning on Screencastify, and starting to narrate over it to talk about some of the incredible things that you found in that piece of student work. And beyond you as an educator showing the things that students do, you also can have students celebrate each other. So try creating a submit assignment that allows students to share videos. So the videos can be made available immediately by you making sure that everybody has access to the videos, or you can moderate them, watch them, make sure they are amazing, and then share them with appropriate students. Students can submit as many videos as they want. So if you have students who are really ambitious and want to share shout outs from multiple of their classmates, go ahead. And all of the videos are going to be saved to your Google Drive with the option for you to share them with students for them to be shared on their Google Drive as well. So this is an awesome way for kids to leave your classroom with multiple videos created by their peers and classmates that talk about the incredible things that have happened this year in a really low-weight way for you. Remember, using Screencastify Submit is as easy as going through that 30-second process and then putting that link out into the wild for your students to be able to create their own videos and engage with it at any time that they would like. And of course, if you have ideas for celebrating kiddos as we go through this, please feel free to share them in the chat. There are tons and tons of ways that we can celebrate learning, celebrate students, and talk about student mastery as we wrap up the year. One of the other things that I like is that, as you know, Screencastify Submit is not relegated just to the students who sit in your classroom. It also is an opportunity for you to open up the celebration to families and everybody else in the school community. Imagine that you give all of the parents an opportunity to create a video that talks about how incredibly proud of their children they are. those can be played at 5th grade graduation, at 8th grade graduation, or any place else to be a really, really good celebration of what students have been able to accomplish. So I know some of you are gearing up to graduate kiddos and put them into the next level of learning, whether that is high school or college. Imagine what it would be like for those kids to be able to watch a video that celebrates them on some of their lowest days or when they might need to overcome some challenges. So those submit assignments are available for anywhere that those folks would like to be able to see them. And finally, we can celebrate a year of learning with digital portfolios, especially this year where students have probably completed more assignments in a digital environment than they ever have before. One thing that I like to do is to have students share their 5 favorite assignments that they've completed that they are really, really proud of. I ask them really quickly what they loved about the assignment, what they feel like they learned, and anything else that they want to add as part of their digital portfolio. And this becomes one of the end-of-year assignments that serves as a reflection piece and also an opportunity for students to revisit some of the learning that they've done. But it doesn't just have to be a reflection. It also can be evidence of reading fluency practice, a research project, a science experiment, them speaking a foreign language, or anything else under the sun that might make sense and serve as an artifact of all of the progress that they've made throughout the academic year. It's a celebration of the year of learning, but also further evidence of their mastery and what they've been able to accomplish. And of course, you can tie it all together with Screencastify Edit, whether that's merging multiple videos like we just talked about, if it's adding title clips and text, or even adding effects like visual interest. So what I want to do while we're talking about Screencastify Edit is I want to show you one more thing that might be kind of cool for you. So we have added this new thing that is called title clips. And in order to add a title clip, you can press Add Media and then Add Title on the bottom right. And when you do that, you can create a title for this. So for example, if I were to say Mr. Smith, and then in my subtext say a shout out for Brian, I can go ahead and do that and then have visual markers that split up all of the different things that are being talked about as we go through the video. So if you're creating a video for your kiddos and it has multiple shout outs for any of their classmates or perhaps some shout outs from their parents, you can create these title clips at different places throughout the video so that they know exactly who they are talking to. So I'm going to stop and answer some questions that you guys have before we move on to our next section. So if you have a question, please feel free to throw that in the chat box. I am very, very excited to answer any questions that you might have. So Alma has a really good question. She says, how can I create audio recordings to narrate my Google Slides? And she's asking that question from Ontario, Canada. First of all, hey, Alma. Second of all, what an amazing idea. Let's check that out. So the first thing that you might want to do is you're going to create a video within Screencastify. And in order for demonstration's sakes, I'm going to go back to a video that I've already created before and show you exactly what this looks like. So if I go over to my recordings, and this will show me every video that I've ever created with Screencastify, and I can click on it to get to the appropriate video page. And in just 1 second, we'll see all the videos I've ever created, and I'll be able to click on that appropriate video page to be able to see all of those things. So let's take a look at this one. And then once that video details page actually loads, I'll have a download over here. And then what I can do is I can press this button here that says export audio only. And what that will do is it will extract the audio from the product, extract the audio from the video, and it will be just the audio recording. But it gets even cooler than that. So if I go over here and I extract that audio, it will save not only to my computer, but also to my Google Drive so that I can put that into a Google slide to narrate over that. So that could be a way for you to narrate those Google Slides, and you even can create something like a collage or pictures of student work, and then be able to narrate over that and talk about some of the really cool things that they've been able to accomplish. So I love that idea, Alma, and Screencastify makes it dead simple for you to be able to do that. So downloaded the MP3, and if you go back over to Google Slides, it is as simple as pressing Insert Audio and then getting that stuff from Screencastify, which you likely already know that class best. So thank you so much for that question, Alma. That is a really good one. Erica has a question. How do I avoid the static sound? Erica, my advice to you would be to try to eliminate some of the things that you're doing at the same time as Screencastify. So if you can close out some programs or something of that nature, that often gets rid of the static sound. However, if that continues to happen, then please feel free to send me an email. My email is in the slides deck that I'm going to share with you guys, and you and I can make sure that that is solved. And then we have one question over here from Summer. Summer says, also named by the way, I'm an elementary math teacher. My kids hate working in their books, but love the Chromebooks. What would be the best way to use Screencastify in the math class that keeps my class student-led? I love that. So what we can do is actually, why don't we use Screencastify Submit to have students actually teach something to each other? To show how they're going to solve a math problem, to narrate through that process. We can have students start to think metacognitively. And we even, to go back to our celebration theme, we even can have those kids kind of talk a little bit about what they loved in the way that their classmates taught things to them, and so on and so forth. So you can have kids create some videos that narrate through math problems, teach things to their classmates, or even talk about new concepts. And that makes sure that the class remains student-led and that they're the ones who are taking control of the learning. Really good question, Summer, and I love it. Then we'll answer one last question here from Jamie before we move on. So Jamie says, is Screencastify Submit part of the current extension, or is it a new one? So really good question, Jamie. Screencastify Submit is its own product. So in order to access Screencastify Submit, you can either do it from the extension. So there's a link to Screencastify Submit from the extension. And to do that, you'll click on the extension and then click on the top right-hand menu and then select Submit. But you also can get to it as a standalone web app. So this is a separate product made by Screencastify to allow you to get videos from your students or really anyone else under the sun. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm really excited about Submit. And the really cool part is if you've never used it before, we also have a free version of Screencastify Submit that you can take a look at and engage with. All right. If you have ideas or questions that you have not had an opportunity to ask yet, please feel free to continue to throw them in the chat. We'll stop periodically to answer some questions, make sure everybody's on the same page, and to talk about some of the ideas that you guys are sharing. And while we're on the topic of sharing ideas, I would love to hear some of the ideas that you guys have for celebrating student mastery as we end the year. Whether it's something that you've done for years upon years or something that you're thinking about doing in the new normal that we've created with this school year, I would love to know some of the ways that you guys are celebrating student mastery and the incredible work that has happened throughout this academic year. Share it over in the chat. Maybe you'll actually share something that somebody else can take and run with and make applicable and available for the students that they serve as well. All right. So let's talk about some ways that we can honor the school community. So far, we've talked about ways to honor educators. We've talked about ways to honor students, but I also want to make sure that we talk about ways that we can honor the school as a whole in the way that we have collectively been able to change the narrative and do amazing things this school year. So I got 3 ideas for you. Let's run them through. So the first is, let's just have people do something as simple as sharing their favorite moment of the year using Screencastify Submit. So this assignment can be available to teachers, available to parents, available to to students and everybody in between. And remember, we can pull them all together to create this incredible collage of some of the cool things that have happened and the favorite moments from different perspectives that really is going to be something that you can use as evidence of what has happened in your school this year. And it is as simple as 30 seconds, set up that assignment, make it an opportunity for the favorite moments of the year to surface to the top. So that is idea number one. All right, idea number two. Let's talk about some of the things that we've accomplished. You can use Screencastify Record to show all of the school feats that you guys have gone through, whether that's incredible data that you can show on PowerSchool or Google Classroom or anywhere else. If it's student work that has been very, very cool and interdisciplinary in nature, if it's teachers who have gone through incredible growth, show it all with Screencastify Record, and you also get the opportunity to share it with the world, whether that is folks who are a part of your school district, if it is prospective parents, if it is your broader community, but you have that video that can be taken, shared with everyone, and ready to go. And show off the halls. One thing that I really liked when I was in the classroom is some of the cool things that we found on teachers' doors, on the hallways, on the entrance that were created throughout the entirety of the year. The worst part about it, though, was that once the year was over, all of that was ripped and it was completely lost. We had no way to be able to go back and see some of the things that were created. But remember, Submit webcam assignments are actually compatible with mobile phones. So send those kiddos out to take a look at some of the different things that have gone out throughout the school and document some of the things that they loved. Maybe it's the poster that they found to be most inspiring. Maybe it's the door decoration that really taught them a little bit about some of the different themes or anything else. So that could be students recording with their Chromebooks. It could be students recording with iPads or any device that they have. They can do all of that through Screencastify Submit to show off some of the cool things that have happened throughout the school year. So we've talked about 3 ways of celebrating educators, celebrating students, and then also celebrating the school community more broadly. And what's also cool is we talked about 3 different products that are going to make it possible for you guys to do that. Whether you're using our Chrome extension that gives you the opportunity to create videos and then share them with anyone. And remember, those share options are really, really broad. So if you go over to our video details page that pops up whenever you're done recording, you can generate a QR code and put that on a flyer to be able to celebrate and show some of those videos. You can send things in an email so that students have perpetual access to it. You even could create a Wakelet collection, share it on Remind. Really, the possibilities are endless for the types of videos that you can create and the ways in which you can share it with the people who matter. Then you can use a tool like Screencastify Edit to bring all of those videos together to create these beautiful masterpieces that show all of the incredible work and learning that has happened this academic year. And when it's time to solicit videos from other people, that's when you use Screencastify Submit. Whether it is students sharing shoutouts for each other, you sharing shoutouts for your colleagues and principals, or parents or members of the community talking about the incredible things that have happened throughout the year, you can do every single one of those things. So what I love about Screencastify is it is not a singular product, but it is really an opportunity for you to unleash the power of video for you, your students, and everybody else who is loosely associated with your school. So we've talked about some of these ideas. I want to stop yet again to make sure that we get an opportunity to answer some of the questions that you guys have. But while I'm going over to chat and taking a look at some of the questions that you guys have, I also want to ask you to share in the chat box not only your questions, but also some ideas for how you and your colleagues are planning to celebrate the end of the year. Again, if you have a dope idea, share it with us. Because we might be able to implement that in our school communities as well to be just as cool. So I'm going to go and read some of the questions and read some of the comments that you guys have shared so that we can amplify those, celebrate those, and bring those to the top as well. So I'm starting in reverse order. Summer says, I did a project with my kids that had them create a restaurant. We reviewed a lot of math skills. During this, they also got to make a commercial that we share with the whole class. Their parents can see it too. That's really cool. You can do something like that with Submit. And what I love about those videos that Summer just mentioned is that it's a link. So if your students do something that's really, really cool, you can share that link with their parents as well. It's always great to get a positive phone call home. So I'm really excited about that particular idea. So Letitia has a question about Screencastify Submit. So it depends on what plan your district has. If you have questions, please feel free to send me an email. And if anybody has questions about what you might have access to, please feel free to send me an email. One of the things that you might know is that every single one of our products has a free version, and everything that I've shown you today can be accessed on the free version, and additional features on our limited versions as well. So really good question. Excited that you asked that one. Janice has an awesome question that I want to celebrate her for asking. So the question is, are there any security issues with using Screencastify? And the reason that I want to celebrate this question is because that's something that we ought to ask. We definitely want to keep students safe. So if you go over to our privacy page, you will notice that there is a whole lot of information about our privacy protections, but I want to give you guys the highlights. The first of which is that we don't collect any data that is not necessary to the functioning of our product. So we're not doing anything in terms of surveillance or anything of that nature. The second is that we never sell or advertise data. And the third is that we are COPA, SOPAPIA compliant, and all of the other things that show the intense amount of rigor that we go to make sure that your data is safe and that it remains private. We have common sense badges and everything under the sun, because this is something that we care incredibly deeply about. So if you have specific questions about the way that we handle student data, student privacy, or your data in privacy, please feel free to reach out to us. But that is something that we pride ourselves on doing an incredible job of making sure it remains secure, safe, and private. So thank you for that question. All right. So we have some ideas over here that I want to celebrate as well. So Erica says, hey, I want to use video to do a more interesting end of year celebration. Woo, sounds like an amazing idea. Of all the work, and try to interweave it with their own words about what they like. And sadly, there is no school end of year celebration planned. It is terrible that there is no school end of year celebration planned. However, I think that your idea of using video to create that interesting end of year celebration is awesome. And they can interweave it with their own words. What I think would work perfectly for you is a screen and webcam assignment in Screencastify Submit. So I'm going to share the link to Screencastify Submit again in case anybody did not see it. But that would be an awesome way to get that video and do a really interesting end of year celebration, even if it is just your classroom for this year. Sonia also has an amazing idea here. They said, I plan to create a video of our special moments and memories of this school year, especially show how we all work together as a classroom family. I love it. Would also be an amazing thing that you can do if you are creating the video with Screencastify Record, or if you are soliciting videos from other folks from Screencastify Submit. So I love that as an idea. That is really, really cool. All right. So as we celebrate and end our time together, I want to share a couple of things with you guys that might be helpful. So the first is, if you have questions, please feel free to continue to put them in the chat. We will be around to answer any of those questions that you might have about using Screencastify Record, Screencastify Submit, or Screencastify Edit. Also, I want to share some additional resources that might be really, really cool for you to be able to use as well. So the first, as you're thinking of questions, is I want to share some of those additional resources. So you have access to our classroom resources page where you can find different things about how to use Screencastify. And some of these ideas that you guys have been sharing fleshed out by other educators like you, including some things that you can plug and play into your lesson plans and into your ideas. You'll also find tons of help on our YouTube channel that showcases all of the creative ways that you can use Screencastify and how you can go through our products. Our certification courses are a really dope way for you to be able to see on demand what our products look like and get some ideas in bite-sized portions that you can implement. And the really cool thing about those certification courses is that you'll earn a certificate and badge that you can show off to your school district or anything else that you would like to do. There are some upcoming webinars and past webinars that you can check out, as well as our Help Center to be able to learn a little bit more about using Screencastify. So all of these resources are clickable and available for you to be able to take a look at. What I will do is I am going to post a link to the slide deck that you can use to be able to get more information into our chat box. And as promised, I do want to answer some of the additional questions that you guys have posted into the chat box as well. So first, let's start with one more idea that is a really, really good one. So she is going to have her students create videos about their special favorite moment in pre-K. I love it. And the really cool thing about Submit is that it is perfect even for non-readers, because as long as you can get your students to press that blue button to record, you are in great shape. And you even can create video directions that are hyperlinked within that Submit assignment so that they can hear what they need to do. So even if we are talking about pre-K students, it is something that they can navigate and create their own shout out videos and talk about some of the cool special moments that they've had throughout pre-K. Summer has another idea. Summer has been on fire tonight, y'all. So Summer says, my school has a graduation for my fifth graders, and we are doing it in video because there are some who can't come due to limits on attendance. And it would be great if the kids can make a presentation about their memories. Yes, yes. That could be kind of getting those videos from that Submit assignment and then putting them in a Google Slides presentation or a PowerPoint or any other place where you would be able to display some of the things that students have created and turn it into something that's really cool. I love that idea. Janice has an idea. Students can do a creative shout out to parents, families, and caregivers. Yeah, for sure. Remember that these videos are going to create a link that can be shared with anyone. So we talked a little bit about parents creating videos for their kids, but it certainly can be the other direction. So even that would have been a cool idea prior to Mother's Day, but really it's an awesome time to celebrate parents any day of the week. So you can have students create those and talk about some of the cool things that their families have been able to support. I love that idea. Karen has a question about using Screencastify Edit. Her question is there a maximum number of videos that you can combine? Nope. Combine as many videos as you would like in Screencastify Edit. So feel free to combine videos from the whole class, videos from the whole grade level. You do whatever is going to lead to the best possible finished product. Jamie has a question that says, are students able to redo submissions? Talking about Screencastify Submit. Yes, they absolutely can redo a submission. So there are two ways that they can do that. Within an assignment, they actually can submit multiple videos, but also before they press submit, there's a really nifty start over button. So if they didn't like their video and they wanted to start over, delete that one and begin anew, they also can do that. So two ways that students can quote unquote redo their submissions that makes it really awesome for them to be able to share their ideas and share their voice. So thank you for those questions. If you have any additional, please feel free to share them over in the chat box. So as we wrap up our time together tonight, I am sharing over the slide deck that you can use as an opportunity to see some of the linked resources and also go through some of the different ways that you can celebrate students, celebrate teachers. I also want to reiterate a couple of things before we head off tonight. The first is that today's presentation is recorded. So we will send over a link to the recording for you to be able to rewatch, share with colleagues, and also pick out opportunities that you might want to implement in your own classroom. The second is that everything that we have seen today is actually a free way to use Screencastify. So all of this is accessible, ready to go right now, and available for you to use. So please feel free to go play around with Submit, play around with Edit, and play around with Screencastify Record. And finally, I want to convey the importance and the coolness of what you guys have been able to accomplish. Every single Teacher Appreciation Week, I am amazed and gobsmacked about the things that teachers can actually do. But this year, I'm even more amazed. So thank you for all of the incredible work that you do. If there is ever anything that either myself or anybody at Screencastify can do to make your life a little bit easier or to make it easier for you to use any of our products, please let me know. There's a link to my direct email address in this slides deck that I just shared with you guys. Always feel free to get in touch with me. I'm very, very excited about you guys implementing these ideas to put some smiles on people's faces, to celebrate incredible learning, and to celebrate the incredible things that are happening throughout the entirety of your school community. Thank you so much for joining tonight. I'll be in touch soon with some additional resources and things that you can use. Thank you for joining, and I can't wait to see you guys sometime in the future for another professional learning opportunity.